Well, Esteban Ocon has created a great mess with his latest move to leave Alpine, and it seems like the silly season has received another twist that we desperately needed. While the 27-year-old has been the centre of Alpine's success, no matter how small it was in the past couple of years, it seems like the Enstone-based squad is now ready to move forward and choose from a young pool of drivers that they've raised through their own academy. But with this in mind, could we see an entirely new lineup in Alpine from 2025, as Gasly's seat is also not secured? And more importantly, is this the breakthrough season for former F2 drivers? Well, it goes without saying that the move of Ocon was quite shocking for the entire F1 world, and while we were led to believe that the repercussions would be more or less in the ways of him sitting out a race or paying a fine, this goes beyond it in a great extent. Obviously, Alpine understood that the all-French lineup that they've desired for such a long period is just not sustainable, and while they're adamant that the latest move from Ocon in Monaco is not what brought to this decision, it definitely had its own influence. Ocon has been perceived as the always prioritised driver by his teammate Gasly, something towards which the older Frenchman had a burst out on the radio during the free practice session in Imola. When talking about the great partnership that Ocon and Alpine have had in the past, one that's likely ending on a sour note, despite the mutual agreement between both sides, Bruno Famin, the race chief for Alpine, went on to say, "We would like to thank Esteban for his commitment to the team for the past 5 years. During this time, we've celebrated some fantastic moments together, the best of which is coming at the 2021 Hungarian GP with a memorable race win. We still have 16 races to compete in 2024, together with a clear objective to continue to work tirelessly as a team to push for the best on-track results. We wish Esteban the very best for the next chapter of his driving career when that moment comes." However, it's safe to assume that Alpine did not have the best possible lineup when it comes to bringing themselves back to the top, or at least in the midfield, as Ocon drove like he was a championship contender and not a member of the team that should treat every point like a piece of gold in their hands. This might be one of the heavy reasons why Alpine made the decision they had to make. And it wasn't easy given the fact that Ocon spent 5 years with their team, won them their first race in quite a while, and a couple of podiums as well. Still, ego is not what you need when you're about to work on the fundamental issues of the car, which is something that Alpine are now looking deeper into, likely drawing the attention of Mick Schumacher, who is desperate to make a return in F1 and would drive a tractor for the sake of it, or Jack Doohan, who would be more than happy to prove that he's made out of F1 material after a solid F2 season last year, in which he finished third and racked up 3 race wins behind his name. All of this goes to show that the French squad, although believing that they had everything under control after fixing the internal team issues by firing Laurent Rossi, the man under whom Alain Prost lost his job as a special advisor for the team, is all but reality. Furthermore, Gasly is also expected to have some hefty conversations about his future with Alpine, because while the internal drama between him and Ocon will be gone from 2025 onwards, the fact that the car is underperforming heavily and found itself at the bottom of the grid after being in the strong midfield goes to show that there is still a lot of work to be done. Gasly, for one, did not anticipate that this would happen to the team when he signed back in 2023, as he wanted to win races, because hadn't it been for the project of the team, he would have stayed with AlphaTauri and would have been far more successful now with the Racing Bulls than he is with Alpine. And this is why many experts were not surprised by the move of Ocon. The Frenchman did talk about the future of his career prior to the Monaco GP, saying that while his intentions lay in continuing the collaboration with Enstone, there are several factors that go heavily in his favour right now, such as the ones we mentioned earlier in this video: the race win in Hungary in 2021, as well as the podium in Monaco in 2023. But then again, this is not what Alpine needs in order to bring themselves back to where they were. And quite frankly, they might not even need Gasly, as he would be motivated if the car was in the midfield and was supposed to be brought to the front of the grid, not in the back and fighting for scrap points to gather a couple of points more or less to their condo. This is hinting towards a potential entire shake-up in Alpine, with Jack Doohan and Mick Schumacher being the 2 candidates that would be more than helpful for Alpine's mission. The team boss, Bruno Famin, opened up on the second option, Schumacher, even though after the latest development, it looks like they're more willing to risk Doohan's inexperience rather than giving a second chance to the German driver. As Famin went on to say, "He's one of the possibilities, that's for sure. Like many others, Mick is currently doing an incredible job in our endurance program. What's very impressive is his mindset. Of course, he's very fast, but I think everybody knows that. It's not always useful to have a very good lap time because you have the balance of performance on top. You have to be a bit careful with the performance. Mick, from the very first minute, has been very cooperative and really helpful for his teammates. I'm very impressed with him because he has adapted his attitude to endurance racing from day one. Everything is open for 2025. Everyone is talking to everyone, and it would be a mistake not to have Mick on the list. Now, the latest move by Ocon goes to show that it's very unlikely that his mind will remain in 2024 season for Alpine, even though that's something the Frenchman has firmly confirmed. Obviously, the situation is quite easy to read, and is similar to what is happening to Mercedes and Hamilton. They know the partnership is about to end in 2024, and their thoughts are about the future of their careers, not the present. Although for Ocon, it would be much smarter to work hard on the 2024 season, because while he is a hot prospect and would be considered a great addition to a team like Haas or Audi, it's still inevitable that he's not the type of driver that Hamilton is. Therefore, he would have to prove himself much harder, despite the fact that he's not lobbying for a high-profile team signature. Yes, there is a place in a team that started the career of Ocon, Mercedes, but that would be likely a one-year venture, and something that Ocon might not be interested in because from 2026 onwards, he would have to seek a seat elsewhere. And unlike now, it would be quite impossible to find a seat at that time of the season. When talking about his future, Esteban Ocon went on to say, "We've had some great moments together, some tough moments as well, and I'm certainly grateful to everyone on the team for these memorable times. I will announce my plans very soon, but in the meantime, my full focus is on delivering on the track for this team and having a successful remainder of the season." Well, the latest developments in events are very likely to see Ocon in Haas, as the Frenchman didn't hide that he has held talks with multiple teams even before the Monaco GP happened. Although there is one seat available there, the opportunity of Magnussen being knocked off the team is also a very strong one, considering that he hasn't been quite brilliant or on the level of Hülkenberg in the past 2 years. It's now almost certain that Behrman would take over from the German driver. But when it comes to the Danes' future, even Haas admitted that they're looking deeper into their options and won't be blindly signing Magnussen from 2025 onwards. It is also worth mentioning that Audi are looking like a serious contender to sign Ocon, especially after the hot and cold games that Sainz played with them in the past couple of months when an official offer was made towards the Spaniard. Well, with all this in mind, do you think that Esteban Ocon would be driving for Haas from next season? And more importantly, who do you think would be a proper replacement for the Frenchman in Alpine? Let us know in the comments down below.